This episode is very closely tied with the last episode, but I'm going to have to give the cake to this episode. I specifically said that I would absolutely love for this episode to just be Luke training Grogu, but I really just wanted them to save that for Mando Season 3. I'm not disappointed nonetheless. This episode was amazing and crazy. We got the return of Cobb Vanth, R2, Luke, Grogu, Ahsoka, and Cad Bane. Every second of this episode got better and better. We even got Order 66 flashbacks, which I was just freaking out over. And I've been saying this, leave Boba Fett's show for his own story. They have completely forgotten about his own story, but I feel like the final episode will bring all of that together.
Only
Execute Order 66.
I like it. Slap it on a t-shirt.
So, Cad Bane's appearance was huge. I honestly am not a huge fan of the CGI they used for him and the final product they used for the actual episode, but either way, it looks beautiful. First, I want to go over what Cad Bane said. He says, Boba Fett is a cold-blooded killer who worked for the Empire. So maybe Boba took Cad Bane's spot since he worked for the Kaminoans in the Bad Batch, and maybe Boba had to kill someone to get the promotion to work for the Empire, I guess. Whatever their history is, I know there will be a duel between them in the next episode. But we'll have our questions answered in the next one. And I don't think Cobb Vanth is dead because of plot armor, and that is his people fighting with Boba against the Pikes.
You should have never given up your armor.
And I don't think Cobb Vanth is dead because of his plot armor. It's also interesting to see that Cad Bane told Cobb Vanth that he should have kept the armor, meaning Cad Bane has probably been on Tatooine for a while looking after the Pikes and looking after the spice. So it's really interesting to see that maybe Cad Bane and Boba Fett have already had an encounter on Tatooine. But I'm just really interested to see, what's their history? What's Cad Bane's history on Tatooine? Maybe he's been working for the Pikes all these years, or he's been looking after Boba's armor and seeing what happens to it. So that line was just really interesting to me. And my theory is that his people are going to fight with the Boba Fett against the Pikes. I could see it going two ways, though. Cobb Vanth dies, and the people want to carry on his legacy and his final wishes of fighting with Boba Fett. They could chicken out because their leader has been killed and are also scared by Cad Bane's threat. Or he lives and they all help Boba Fett. All three theories I am completely fine with. If either of them happened, I would just love that. But I wanted to talk about Cad Bane in this video. So, in a deleted scene in the Clone Wars, Boba Fett and Cad Bane have a duel, and Boba ends up winning, killing him, but leaves Boba with the dent in his helmet. I can most definitely see Cad Bane and Boba have a duel like this in the next episode, with Boba winning. Killing Cad Bane, then driving the Pikes out of Tatooine could just be the move. This would be awesome, and definitely I think it could happen. In the finale, we could also see flashbacks of how Cad Bane went from working with the Kaminoans or the Empire, and Boba maybe kicking him out or something, so working with the Pikes. Or just his journey since last time we saw him in the Bad Batch. It would be really interesting to see how his story has evolved and what he's like now. For the final battle, here are my predictions. So regarding Luke and Grogu and what choice Grogu will make between Yoda's lightsaber and choosing to train as a Jedi or Mando's armor, I will leave that for another video. Anyway, we see the Power Ranger biker gang scouting out the Pike territory, planning out their attack. Mando, Boba, and Fennec will all go in together, and after the explosion from the Pikes, Boba will respond by going to war. We could see an Avengers-like final battle where all hundreds of warriors charge at each other. Well, on Boba's side, it probably won't be hundreds. Maybe on the Pikes, it could be 100 or 200. But anyway, they both charge at each other at once. Or we could see a civilized fight, like Mando Season 2, where they intrude the Pike's base, and then we'll see what else happens. most likely I'm going with the Avengers theory, where they all just attack each other at once. So after the possible death of Cobb Vanth, his people will be inspired and march to Jabba's palace. Now that Boba has enough foot soldiers, there is an all-out war. Cad Bane and Boba meet up at some point and have a duel like the deleted scene from the Clone Wars. But this time, maybe Cad Bane wins. Boba's old, Cad Bane's older, but Boba's all slow and tired. Or we could see a tie, but Boba is saved by his chest plate, and Cad Bane is left for dead on the sands of Tatooine. So, as far as Cad Bane's story, we could see flashbacks to live-action Clone Wars, and he will play a large role in the final battle. After the fall of the Empire, he most likely was hired by the Pikes on Tatooine, and those are my theories on what might happen with Cad Bane in the next episode, but I think that this will be his only appearance in live action. But those are my theories for the final battle with Cad Bane. It's also funny to see that Cad Bane walks so far through the desert just to look cool in the ending scene. Like, honestly, where did he come from?